Reports suggest that the Sri Lankan government has agreed to form an all-party government. A new interim government would mean a new prime minister and cabinet. So, if confirmed, this is a major political development for the country. According to Sri Lankan lawmaker, Sri Lanka's president has agreed to replace his older brother as prime minister. Currently, Mahinda Rajapaksa is the prime minister of Sri Lanka. But the recent protests have called for Rajapaksas to step down. The proposed interim government was floated to solve a political impasse caused by the country's worst economic crisis in decades. However, a spokesperson for Mahinda Rajapaksa says nothing like this was communicated. He says Gotabaya has not communicated any intent to remove the Prime Minister, and a decision will be announced if such a step is taken. Reports suggest that a rift is emerging between the two brothers. This comes amid major public backlash and protests across the country calling for their resignation. The Rajapaksas have dominated nearly every aspect of life in Sri Lanka for almost 20 years. Until recently, they controlled 75% of the country's budget. Protesters hauled them responsible for the crisis and are demanding that they quit politics. If an interim government is formed, the appointment of a new prime minister and the cabinet will be assigned to a national assembly. This will consist of the leaders of all political parties. Sri Lanka is currently dealing with its worst economic crisis since independence. It has to repay $7 billion in foreign debt this year and $25 billion by 2026. Its foreign reserves currently stand at less than $1 billion. In the midst of the crisis, India is now delivering life-saving medicines to Colombo. An Indian Navy's ship arrived in Colombo carrying over 760 kilograms of 107 types of critical life-saving medicines. The shipment was received by Health Minister and will be supplied to the university hospital. And for more on the political developments in Sri Lanka, our correspondent Dasuni has sent us this report from Colombo. Take a look.
Following a meeting between government political party leaders as well as President Gotabaya Rajapaksa this morning, according to the chairman of the Sri Lanka Freedom Party, that is also former President Maithripala Sirisena, President Gotabaya Rajapaksa has in fact agreed to form an interim party government, while adding Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa as well as the newly appointed cabinet will promptly be removed before forming this interim party government. Now, this is a big development, provided that over the past few days, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapaksa has been assertive in his decision to make sure that he is understood by everyone to not resign here in the country. Now, the former Premier was seen making these remarks, asserting that he will not step down nor resign from his position, and that he strongly believes that President Gotabaya Rajapaksa, who is also his brother, will not initiate any move that requires for his resignation. Major developments are expected in the coming hours and days here in Sri Lanka, as we are expecting the reactions from political leaders, civil society activists, as well as the protesters at large, who have for weeks been calling for the president to step down. However, as of right now, it only appears that the president is now attempting for the prime minister to step down. Stay with WION as we bring you the latest. Reporting from Colombo, I'm Dasuni.
WION is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news on the move.